Welcome back to In Pursuit 360. And we are going to talk about, yes, I'm not in my regular spot. We're going to talk a little bit about, let's go into the academy, right? Let's talk about firearms training. Let's talk about firearms training. And that's going to be our topic for today. Okay, so we're talking about, okay, you've gotten hired, you're going to the academy, and one of the things that you're going to spend a little bit of time on, and it kind of depends on where you go, right? Some law enforcement agencies or certain states require so many hours of training, right? So when I was local, I can't remember, I think it was like 80 hours of firearms training, and that included use of deadly force and that kind of thing. But when I went to the federal government, we went to the range almost every day for the entire time that we were down at FLETC. There was range in there. So, we started off nomenclature. They start like novice, like you really don't know anything. And then they move their way on up to when you graduate. And there's like moving and shooting, and there's, offlining drills and just all kinds of things that you learn. They did a really good job because we had lots and lots and lots of firearms training. Not everything was on the range. We used simunitions, little like paintball bullets that go in the gun, non-lethal training rounds, to do like actual clearing of buildings and clearing of rooms and scenarios and that kind of thing, where you actually got feedback. Somebody was actually shooting at you while you're deciding if you need to shoot at them or not, and all that good stuff. So lots and lots and lots of firearms training in FLETC. It was really, really good. But okay, so I digress. Your firearms training, it is critical that you take the time to master this skill. There is a really good chance, well, depending on where you work, I guess, there's a good chance that you'll never fire that firearm while on duty, right? I never fired mine. I've drawn it plenty of times, multiple times, searching buildings, standoffs, certain types of warrant services, alarm responses with open doors in businesses and houses and stuff like that. And we had a standoff with somebody that was wanted that wouldn't come to the door. And anyway, supposedly had a weapon, and guns are drawn and aimed in. Like I had a window, I'm aimed in at the window waiting just in case, and all that good stuff. And then one time that I had actually decided I was going to press the trigger. But by the time that I had drawn and aimed in, it was the opportunity had passed. Some guy tried to hit me with a truck. And I dove back into my car, and as I came up and drew, the cab of his truck past my cruiser window. And so at that point, my life was no longer in danger, and therefore I couldn't press the trigger. But I had actually made up my mind I was going to shoot this guy for trying to kill me with this truck. But anyway, but if you ever do need to draw it and use it, that's a huge responsibility. You need to know what you're doing. You need to be very effective and efficient with this thing. You need to understand the idea of all the fundamentals. You need to understand the importance of trigger control. You need to understand the importance of lining up your sights. And yeah, I'm talking about these fundamentals and lining up your sights, but and in a moment when somebody's shooting at you or somebody's life's in danger and you've decided it's time to use deadly force, if you practice these fundamentals on a regular basis, if you concentrate on putting all this together, it'll become automatic. So that when you draw that firearm and you go to aim in, you're automatically going to pick up those sights. You're automatically going to start getting into your stance and getting that lean forward and bringing the firearm up to your eyes instead of your eyes down to the... Anyway, this will all become automatic so that you don't have to think about it. You will not have time to think about it. So if you don't practice, if you don't prepare yourself ahead of time, then you're going to fail. When you look at law enforcement officers involved in shootings, you'll find that they shoot like 7, 8, 10, 12, 15 rounds and sometimes don't hit the bad guy at all, or only hit the bad guy once or twice. That's miserable. That's terrible. I don't think we do enough training to really get people to think and be so automatic when it comes to being able to engage somebody. We go out, we qualify once, twice, 3 times a year, depending on what agency you're with. Go out there, you qualify, maybe you do a couple of speed drills and you call it a day. It's not combat fighting. That's not street fighting. That's not how you would have to engage a bad guy. I had the advantage, my sheriff's office, when I worked for them, not only did we do our annual qualification, but then we had to do a semi-annual tactical qualification. I mean, and they went all out. We had an outdoor range, put a cruiser back on like the 25-yard line. You'd start off sitting in the car, you'd jump out with your shotgun, a couple of slug rounds, transition to your firearm as you move in and approach, get to the 15, get behind a barrel, a couple rounds there. Then you would move in a diagonal while engaging bowling pins that are standing up, get behind another barrel, engage another target. Then you're going to move backwards, and then you're engaging helium-filled balloons that are floating around in the breeze. I mean, they went all out in this tactical course, and it was huge. And it was a pass, no pass. Either you hit all your targets or you didn't. And that was a no-no. Then you had to go again because you had to qualify. You had to make it through this course. And it was awesome. It was great training. And I know for a fact there are a lot of agencies that just don't do that. They either don't have the time or they don't have the money, or they don't have the staffing, right? Because in order to pull people, that was a full day's training because we didn't just go run the course. We went through stages of training, how to properly use cover, how to shoot off cover instead of being on cover, kneeling, standing, prone, advantages of each and practicing from each, and, how to shoot at a moving target. You have to make sure, or if you're moving, how you don't stop. You've got to keep walking and fire and not stop. It's kind of natural to try to want to stop. So, all these things. And if your agency isn't providing you with this kind of tactical training, please find somewhere to go do it. If you can find a private field, you can kind of do it on your own, but you need to make sure that you're doing it right. Right? How do you get perfect, right? What's that old saying? Practice makes perfect, right? Wrong. Practice does not make perfect. If you practice if you practice doing something the wrong way over and over again, it doesn't suddenly become perfect, right? It's perfect practice makes perfect. If you want to be perfect out there on the street using your firearm, you need some perfect practice. Seek somebody out that can help you be prepared tactfully. How will you survive a gunfight out on the street? That's what you need to train on. Qualifications are to keep your paycheck. TAC training is to keep your life. That's what I tell my guys now in the private security business. I can guarantee you, I actually had a federal agency instructor come up to me and go, man, you're doing more with your guys in private security than we get to do with ours. They come out, qualify, and go home. And some of them have trouble with that. These are federal law enforcement officers. And I know what happens in local agencies too. They only have the time/money to run them through a regular qual and give them some real basic skills. My guys are out there. We're doing time drills. We're doing failure drills with dummy rounds. We're doing move and shoot. We're using barricades, on cover, off cover. And then we're doing tactical training out in the range lobby before they open up. How do you clear corners? What's the proper way to do this? How do you move? Where's the weapon go while you're moving? Do you do SUL? Do you come up? Do you stay, high, ready, temple? Yeah. We cover all of that. And that's private security. But law enforcement agencies don't get the opportunity to do this. If your agency that you end up with doesn't have time to work on tactical training, then that's something that you need to make sure you go seek out and get on your own, because your life depends on it. Your livelihood depends on it, because even if you don't get yourself killed, if you shoot an innocent civilian, they're going to sue the hell out of you, your department, and everything else. And if they find out that you did not follow policy or procedure or whatever, unless they can tie it back into a lack of training, and when the state says all they have to do is have you qualify and they do that, then how does it fall into training, right? Then you're going to end up losing. Do you like your house? Do you like your car? Do you like to go on vacations? Because if you lose that lawsuit, they're going to take it all away, all right? And I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to get you to think you've got to train. You've got to train. Now, how do you train? You can you can train with your duty weapon at home. You can buy some dummy rounds. You get dummy rounds off of Amazon, and you can buy them in a lot of other places, right? But you can get dummy rounds off of Amazon. They're about $1 a piece. You buy them in packs of 10 or 20. So 10 or 20 bucks, you can get 10 to 20 dummy rounds, load them into your magazine, and you can practice reloads. You can practice reloads. You can practice failure drills. You can practice stovepipes, and you can practice double feeds, and you can practice all this dry fire, right? You should be doing that every day anyway. Every day when you get home from work, most law enforcement officers carry their guns home. When you get home from work and you stand in front of whatever, your dresser, your bathroom, or whatever, and you're getting ready to download for the night, you need to stand there, get into your interview stance, and draw that weapon. Don't press the trigger because you're probably loaded, right? But draw, clear that holster, level that thing out, present it, finger off the trigger. Got my training weapon here. It's a fake, right? No bullets. Can't take bullets. Slide doesn't work. This is a SIRT gun, by the way. Anyway, so, or you can use a SIRT weapon. So this one is actually modeled after the Smith & Wesson M&P, which is what the security agency I work for now actually uses as a Smith & Wesson M&P. Yes, I am a Glock guy. I don't like Smith & Wesson. However, whatever. That's what we use, so that's the one that I have right now. We always keep finger off the trigger until we're ready to shoot, right? Follow those 4 cardinal safety rules. One of them is finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. So when you go to clear that holster, right, and come up and present, you should make sure that your finger is off the trigger, which is what it should be when you're out on the street. Just because you draw that weapon and you see a bad guy and you're thinking, deadly force, deadly force, deadly force, deadly force, and as you're coming up and you're presenting, things can change. They change like that, right? You may not, as you're starting to press, you may start to press that finger onto that trigger as you're presenting out, right? And then you may have to let off, or you may have to press. But you need to practice. I'm not saying practice. You need to dry fire practice this, right? Putting your finger on that trigger as you're presenting. But at the end of the night, practice your draw. Clear that holster. Pop it out of there. Level it off. Be ready. When you go to the range, if you have a range that'll let you draw, drop the table, get out there with your gun belt, and practice drawing. What happens if the person's within a foot or two and you're actually in a skirmish, right? And you've got to bring it up and present from here, right? We call it bent elbow, it's bent elbow is what we used to call it. Anyway, so your bent elbow, can you get a round off from down low? This should stuff that you should practice. Now, some ranges may not like you to do that, but find out if they do or if they don't, or what the berm is like or whatever. If you're outdoors at a berm, you really want to be in close, because sometimes until you're used to it, as you draw up and level and you're down by your hip, and I would stand up, but I'm not. Sometimes people tend to angle up, so you can end up shooting high. So be aware of that. But yeah, you need to be able to practice moving. Like, how do you move? I tend to move here with my elbows rested up against my chest. I'm looking just over the firearm. I can see this. I can see everything around me. I'm not looking at my gun. I'm not looking through my sights as I'm walking through checking something, right? I'm just kind of looking over, but I'm here. And all I have to do is present. And I'm good to go. But you need to practice these things. If you don't practice them ahead of time, if your agency doesn't work on continuously training you with this stuff, you're going to end up in trouble when you need it. How many of you have seen the thing in TV shows where they go walking through searching a building and they're either like this, right, with their arms straight out, or they're down low, right, or they're like this, but they're down low, down by their belly? That's not real. That's not how that works. You need to learn how to clear corners and all that good stuff. So anyway, this SIRT gun, if you go to Next Level Training, I'll put a link down below. If you go to Next Level Training and use the passcode InPursuit 059, InPursuit 059. 059 was my badge number at the Pentagon. But anyway, InPursuit 059, you get 10% off. These things are awesome. They come in all different models, right? They've got this is the Smith & Wesson M&P. They've got a Glock 19. They've got a Glock 17. They got all kinds of, they got M4s. They're really awesome. And The magazine itself is actually weighted. It actually has the weight of a real weapon with a fully loaded magazine. The trigger has got a couple things. So if you see that little laser light right there, right? So you can adjust this. So you can adjust it so that if you accidentally put your finger on the trigger and it's not supposed to be, it'll go off as soon as you touch it. Or in this case right now, it's set at reset, right? So right as it comes to the point where I've got pressure, where I'm getting ready to have it go click or bang, that light comes on, so I know I'm there at that wall. You can also turn that off, and then it's got the shot. So when you press that trigger, the light at the top is actually your laser where your sights are at, and it's pretty accurate. So you can use this for practice. You can also use it for trigger reset drills, right? So if you're trying to put rapid rounds on target fast, it's critical that you understand trigger reset, right? So if you go bang, listen, as you let the trigger out, you hear that click? Okay, so and then it's bang and click, bang and click. And here's the trick. So watch the finger, right? Bang, and then click. That's it. That's all my finger needs to travel. Bang, click, bang, click, bang, click. But if I let it out, look at all that room that's left. See how much that trigger's flowing right there like that? That's a lot of chance to wiggle wiggle the gun so that you're changing your sights. All you want to do is click bang, click bang, click bang, right there. That's all you need. That's called trigger reset. And the gun will not move. It has less chance of moving by doing that than if you're letting that trigger travel all the way out and back in, all the way out. It ends up resulting in slapping the trigger, right? You're just doing this. You don't need to do that. It's right here. That's all it is that. All right? So next level training, CERT guns, they come in all different models. Look at the models. Find the one that you're going to carry. It'll fit into your holster. It's weighted the same in everything. Excuse me. It's weighted the same in everything. Use that code INPURSUIT059. It'll get you 10% off. So anyway, pay very close attention to your firearms training. It's critical. You're going to need it. I will come up with some follow-up videos I'll actually make out on the range, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about in using cover, being on cover, off cover, and moving and shooting and malfunction drills and things like that. Okay. So hopefully you found this informative. Hopefully you can end up using this. So again, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down below. Give me that thumbs up, thumbs down if you have to, but make sure you tell me why you gave me thumbs down. Don't forget that bell notification down there. That'll tell you when the next video is coming out. In the meanwhile, hey, train hard, train real, and be careful out there.